It's street circuit has been used at the beginning of the F1 calendar for quite some time. Has produced some good races in the past, so we'll be hoping to provide some good racing in this one. I can hear that. Right, so let's have a look at the setup that I'm going to use for this track. I will give a setup for each one of them as we go through the Canada. So this is Australia. So for this track, I'm going for a 7.6 aero. I mean, obviously, when I say this setup, it may not work for yourself. You may want to adjust it to your own liking, but this is what I personally use. 7.6 aero. You want this for the corners of this track. It's not much. There's not much straights, so you want as much downforce as possible. So that's why it's a 7.6 aero. Transmission is just me personally is a 50% on the adjustment on throttle, and adjustment off throttle is 70%. Suspension geometry, as you can see, the top two minus 3.0 and minus 1.5, and then the bottom two numbers 0.09, 0.29. Obviously, if you put all the numbers to the right and all the numbers to the left, that gives you the most straight line speed, but the car will be unstable. And likewise, if you put them all in the middle, the car will be stable, but your straight line speed will not be there. So this is why I put that here. It also helps on tyre wear if you have any problems with that. Suspension, 72745. I'm streaming. So can it wait a minute? Sorry, 727 455 is the suspension that I personally use. I use this for most of the tracks, so you could use that as like a baseline. Normally works for all the scenarios that you come across. Brakes, personal preference for myself, 80% brake pressure and 60% on the brake bias. Tires, 23.0 on the front, 21.1 on the rear. That helps with traction, also helps with tyre wear. Weight distribution. Now, weight distribution is basically if you put the car on 11, then the back end will be spinning out and you have difficulty controlling your car. If you put it on 1, then the car will turn, but it'll be very, very stiff. So you want kind of like in the middle. I often go like a between 4, 5 and 6, but for this track I go past either 6. So that's the setup. Let's go out onto the track. I'll give you a hot lap guide, and bear in mind this may not be the best lap, but come to the start of the lap, the chicane, to build you up, you need to have a lot of speed through this final corner, and you open up the DRS to cross the start finish line. You want to get a good exit out of that final corner because the straight will matter. Down into the first corner, down into 5th gear, you want to clip the apex, which I didn't, and you want to sort of carry the speed through. I didn't really do that very well, but anyway, going down into turn 3, down into 3rd gear. Again, you want to clip the apex and straight up into 4th, clip the apex, and then mind the curb on the outside, flat out through that turn. And now sector 1, now down into 4th gear for this corner. You're going to mind the traction on the exit, short shift to 5th. Out for this right hand, and now this chicane coming up is very, very tricky. Going to mind the curb on the inside and the outside, because the car will kick out. Mind the wall on the outside of the corner onto the back straight. It'll come onto the best corner on the track. Down 2 gears into 6th. In these cars you can take a lot of traction. A bit better than what I did there, but going into the final few corners now, into the final sector. This corner can be quite tricky down into 4th gear, and then you can take this corner flat if you're very, very brave, but down into the final 2 corners of this track, just finishing off the lap, carrying as much speed as possible. Open up the DRS, and we cross the start finish line. I'm going to give you another lap in silence so I can concentrate and you can see how to properly do it. So there is a proper lap this time of the Australia racetrack, and as you can see I did a 1:22.2 on that lap. It was invalidated, slight corner cut on that lap, but that's the sort of benchmark times you want to see. You're going to see in F1. You may even see a 21 by a couple of drivers. Yeah, that is a track guide of Australia. A few more things about the track. Chance of rain. I've seen some races in my career mode and multiplayer that can provide, that has had rain in it, so be prepared for that. Wet weather basically at this track is very different to the dry. You want a lot more downforce in your setup if the rain does come down. As for a tyre wear strategy, tyre wear reasonable at this track. Expect a 2-stop really, even on these regulations with these cars, a 2-stop will be the norm. Yeah, so that is Australia. Next week we'll be in China, so until then we'll see you next week.